If I were to die, I kind of imagine it would be during some crazy cataclysmic event like the moon or a meteor crashing into the earth or something. I'd want to take the phrase go big or go home to literal earth-shattering levels. The amount of dreams I had about this scenario as a child were insane. I blame it on the planetary fixation I had right after the paleontology phase I had in kindergarten. I liked dinosaurs, then I became obsessed with the thing that wiped them out. The lore's loring, it makes sense. Let's say that did happen, and my final moments were spent staring into a giant ball of cosmic inferno coming right at me. And at the blink of an eye, I wake up in an alternate reality in which all of it was a dream. So naturally, the imagery of planets or realities crashing into each other have always appealed to me in fiction. I also like my fiction packaged in beautiful artwork, especially in styles that are painterly in nature. It scratches the art history part of my brain that remains sadly unexplored since sophomore year college. And honestly, pretty art and characters are enough to hook me into a game. I like pretty art and cosmically compelling science fiction stories, so imagine my delight when I got approached by the wonderful sponsor for today's video. Today's video is sponsored by Ash Echoes, a real-time strategy gacha game developed by Oregon Shanghai and published on global servers by Neocraft. The game officially launches on November 13, but you can pre-register today using the link in the description box down below. To celebrate its launch, Ash Echoes is giving 200 free pulls on release, so definitely don't miss that. They were kind enough to sponsor this video and let me play Ash Echoes pre-release, so tune in to see what your leafy lorekeeper has to say. I'm doing this for you, Laurel. I mean, look at her. Set in a sci-fi universe, it features a diverse cast of characters from different worlds. The story unfolds after a cataclysmic event known as the Sky Rift Incident, in which realities started to crash into each other. This event exposed the world of Senlo to a substance that can bring both power and destruction. I love story plots that explore alternate realities because it's fantasies I've entertained in my own life. What would the timeline look like if I talked to this person and not that person? How drastically would my life have changed? What would my life look like if I never pursued content creation at all? Is there a reality in which I did end up dying from cosmic impact? Could I just escape to another reality to save myself from impending cosmic doom? I don't know, but I want to explore it. Similarly, our protagonist has stepped into an alternate reality in which they are director of an organization called SEED, which stands for Scientific Electronics Experiment and Development. SEED is a research institute that's been investigating the Skyrift passage and X energy in order to harness its potential for the betterment of humanity. Except in our protagonist's original universe, they aren't an all-powerful director, so cue major imposter syndrome. Setting aside the multiverse dilemma, our mission is to rescue multiple worlds from a mysterious threat. To accomplish this, we must enlist powerful heroes called coordinators from various worlds. Game exploration invites you to an array of unique universes. The story plays out in novel form, but there are points in the story where your dialogue choices affect the progression of the story. There's also tea time mode, where you can decorate your own hangout spot, spend some quality time with your favorite characters, make them a drink you think they'd like, and learn more lore from them. I do really appreciate how the story is integrated even in combat modes like Echoing Nexus, where you can see segments of characters' memories from the past. Ash Echoes is a real-time strategy or RTS gacha game available on PC and mobile. Part of its game mechanics include tower defense, grid-based strategy, real-time tactics, and a roguelite mode called Echoing Nexus. You can set the game to autoplay, but I found that I prefer to alt or trigger special attacks manually since I think I can time them better. If you've never played a tower defense game before, basically there's a terminal your characters have to protect from enemy attacks. If the terminal loses all its HP, then it's game over. The game's update cycles introduce time-limited event stories featuring standard battles, unique minigames, and boss challenges. Participating in these events rewards players with shop currency, which can be used to obtain valuable items like memory traces, resonance clues, and skill upgrade materials. Each character has different roles such as DPS, tank, and support, and also different ranges for their basic and special attacks. Your characters will have auto basic attacks until you gain enough charges for special attacks and ultimates, and these ult animations are so aesthetically pleasing. You get an entire anime opening sequence, which is awesome, and it's skippable in case you're in a pinch and need to finish the mission ASAP. This is sacrilegious to me as a lore channel, but there is a skip story button. And the nice thing is the skip button will provide a summary of the story you're about to miss. So if you're really pressed for time and need to progress, you're given an opportunity to do so with concise context in the main story. Aside from roles like DPS, tank, and support, characters also have elements and elemental reactions. There are 7 elements in total: fire, lightning, water, ice, wind, physical, and corrosion. Only wind, physical, and corrosion do not have elemental reactions and instead have their own mechanics. One of my favorite modes, though, is Echoing Nexus. Echoing Nexus is a roguelike game mode where players select a character and memory traces to progress through increasingly difficult encounters. As you advance, you're offered stat boosts and skills based on your chosen memory traces. After completing an Echoing Nexus run, the gained stats and skills are saved as an engraving, which can be carried over into other game modes. The Echoing Nexus mode is the main method of character leveling and progression, and with it, you can grant insane skills and passive effects to your lead character. And again, those stats carry over into other game modes, so you can see why it's important to do Echoing Nexus weekly. The combat progression system in this game is honestly one of the more unique I've experienced, offering a wide variety of team-building compositions. It's also pretty satisfying to level up characters with Echoing Nexus, and it's kind of refreshing since it feels like you're actually progressing with your character instead of just farming and feeding resources into them. None of the progression feels like an intense grind. It's comfortable and it makes me look forward to building future characters. The core gameplay revolves around customizing multiple team leaders with manually chosen buffs and stat balances. But this is awesome because you have an incredible amount of freedom when it comes to team building. You can create multiple builds for a single character without limits, so imagine just how many ways you can handle combat. Even though the auto-battling mechanic is optional, I actually prefer moving my units around. 1, because it makes the gameplay way more enjoyable, and 2, I can strategize and reposition characters way more efficiently. Speaking of characters, all playable characters are referred to as Echomancers. Damage dealers or DPS units are the main source of damage for the team. Specialists can have niche mechanics like creating elemental zones, interception, control, barrier, or basically anything that deviates from the normal techniques. Buffers/debuffers apply team buffs or enemy debuffs as the name suggests. Survival units are tanks and healers, which basically preserve the team. So I'm going to use this opportunity to talk about my Ashe Echoes crush, Laurel. She's a 6-star Echomancer Corrosion Element Specialist, and she's pretty OP. She provides both offensive and defensive capabilities to the team by increasing basic attack damage and providing a shield. Because she's Corrosion, she doesn't proc elemental reactions, so her use case is a little more niche as a specialist, but she's an incredible unit to have. In the story, she assists Seed in their pursuit to better understand the Skyrift Passage, and she has the hidden ability to manipulate dreams. We love a psychological queen. The gacha nature of the game is also pretty generous. Not only will new players be given 200 free summons at the release of the game, but you'll also get more summons just by progressing in the various modes. You get a free 6-star selector at 30 summons, then another 6-star selector at 300 summons, and a free random 6-star by progressing through the beginner missions and finishing chapter 3 in the main storyline. 3 premium tier characters, so that's pretty generous. With that being said, if you've been on the hunt for a new RPG strategy game to play with a gameplay loop that's quite distinguishable from the games that are currently out in the market, I invite you to try Ashe Echoes, which officially releases globally on November 13 on PC and mobile. Don't forget to use the registration link in the description box down below. Thank you once again, Ashe Echoes, for sponsoring today's video.